How can I know God is real? I'm going to give you some things to think about that have really helped me with this question. And when we're looking for someone like God, a good clue that he's here is if we begin looking for the evidence that he's here. So we're going to look at a few points of evidence today to help me understand that God is real. I'm going to quote Dr. Francis Collins, who was the head of the Human Genome Project. And he said, I began to realize that the evidence for the existence of God, while not proof, was pretty compelling. It made me realize that atheism, or not believing, would no longer be an acceptable choice for me, as it was the least rational of all the options. So, number one, here is the first piece of evidence. It's called creation. Why is there something instead of nothing? Why is there a created world? And Paul used this argument in Romans 1. He said, for what can be known about God is plain to people because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made. Number two is the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. Maths is so ordered. There are patterns. If it was all random, there wouldn't be any order. But the fact that there is order and patterns and amazing numbers and equations, for example, the Schrödinger equation, is good evidence that there's a creator behind the universe. The third piece of evidence is the Big Bang. If, as scientists are saying, the theory of the Big Bang caused the Earth, a beginning needs a beginner. It needs someone outside of the natural realm to create it. So we need a creator that created the Big Bang. Number four is the precise tuning of the physical constants in the universe. So to live on Earth, everything has to be just right. It is fine-tuned. There's just enough oxygen in the air. The Earth is at just the right tilt to get enough sun and winter. I think there's hundreds of little things. The temperature on the Earth for life is just perfect. The amount of water and how it works. There's so many little constant perfections for life that it provides great evidence that God is real. Number five is the fact of the moral law. In every culture, there seems to be some right and wrong written in our hearts, and the culture imposes punishment for wrongdoers. So in every culture, murder is wrong, adultery is wrong, and this moral law is within us as we listen to our conscience, which is good evidence of a creator putting it there. And finally, number six, people's experiences are good evidence for the existence of a creator. Our experiences in history, so the historians have written about Jesus, what he did, his death and resurrection, biblical writers and extra-biblical writers like the Roman historians and Jewish historians, and also people's experiences throughout history. There's lots of written documents of how people have experienced God and how he's come through for them. And in modern day, if you listen, you will hear people tell experiences or coincidences where they feel God was involved with their life. What's quite interesting is if you listen to someone who is dying, what they see and perceive and understand as they cross over into the supernatural eternity. So I hope that helps. I think unbelief is very widespread in the world today, and I think it's because of a despondency about human evil and about our failings and selfishness. And so that despondency over sin causes us not to believe in God. But God has made a plan even for all that sin, and a person has become the solution for it. And that is the person of Jesus on the cross. That is where God's justice works itself out, by Christ absorbing all that evil, overcoming the work of the evil one, and setting us free to follow him. So our Christian hope then, as free followers of Jesus, is to live with confidence in the newness and fullness of life he gives us, and to await for the coming of Christ again in glory, and the completion of God's purpose for his whole world. And may God bless you as you begin to look for this evidence and assure your own soul that he is real. Amen.